Welcome to Woomates, a podcast where we talk openly and honestly about the emotional realities of motherhood. We're your hosts, Lela
And Lily.
Today we're talking about if parenting is harder now than it was in the past.
I definitely think there are harder aspects of parenting today, but I also think there are easier aspects. The thing that kept coming back to me while I was thinking about and researching this is the reason it seems so hard is because we have more knowledge.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have less community as well, but which is definitely a factor. But I think just being overwhelmed with too much knowledge is which is a blessing, is good things. We're learning about ourselves, we're healing ourselves, we're learning about emotions and trauma and all these things, but it gets really overwhelming trying to be the best you can be when there's just too much about how to be the best.
Yeah, because then you're always trying to measure up to what you're hearing, which is too much stuff.
Yeah. So it can be more mentally demanding today and more isolating and performative because of social media, more emotionally loaded. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is because of this reel you sent me. And she wrote an article about it. Dr. Amber Thornton. She's a licensed clinical psychologist, author, and parenthood expert specializing in emotional wellness, self-regulation, and families breaking generational cycles.
Wow.
And she wrote a whole article about that reel you sent me, is why she made that reel.
I did not even know that. I just saw the reel and I was like, I like this.
Yeah, it was really good. And then you said we should talk about this in a podcast. And I said, yes.
And here we are.
Do it.
We're doing it.
We can link that in the notes, but I also want to talk about that article. And then she linked the Surgeon General's advisory. It was a whole PDF from 2024 called Parents Under Pressure, the U.S. Surgeon General's advisory on the mental health and well-being of parents. It's like a whole document.
I am intrigued.
It's 36 pages. So we can link that too.
What is can you just summarize that? Like what is it saying?
It's talking about how parenting stress has become a serious public health issue, and parents are carrying heavy emotional, financial, and mental loads. Many feel overwhelmed, unsupported, and alone. So the report argues that supporting parents is not just a family issue, it's a societal issue. And at the end, it talks about things that we as a society should be aiming for to make the mental stress of being a parent easier. Yeah. So it talks about like financial strain and childcare challenges, time pressure, work and family balance, children's safety, isolation and loneliness, social media pressure, constant parenting advice, which is what I think for me personally is a big stressor, and information overload and lack of community support. So anyways, there's a lot of things we could talk about in this episode, and I feel like we just should go through this article that this psychologist wrote because she made 4 really good points.
Okay,
I think we can go through each
point. Before you say that, yes. So that will be the episode? Just going through each point, the 4 points?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that would be...
Before. I didn't know if you were just going to zoom
idea,
through those.
We could also we could do whatever.
Because I was going to say this at the end, but I feel like it'll be better now because you're kind of just talking about this. And when I was like researching this, I found like top 5 reasons that this might be true today, like why it might be more overwhelming. 1 is parents spend more time directly interacting with their kids, directly actively caring for kids. 2, parenting has become more emotionally loaded. Like you were saying, we're more aware of how childhood affects you and how our emotions affect us. So that's added another layer. 3, parents carry more worry about their kids' mental health, safety, and future. That's more of a concern now. 4, the village is weaker and support is often expansive or unavailable. This is Western society. And 5, financial and time pressure are crushing people's capacity. So like you were saying, just like financial constraints these days and how a lot of the times both parents need to be working to make ends meet. That adds another layer too.
Yeah, that is basically exactly the points she made. Except for the village one, which I thought was interesting. But she does specifically just talk about millennials, which there has not been much of a village the past, I don't know, many generations. But she is specifically talking about this generation. So she didn't mention the village thing, but I do want to talk about that too, because that is
Yeah.
very important.
That ties into our first episode about loneliness.
Yes. Okay, let's do her points are this. I should
As you scroll and look.
I should have put them in easier to read.
Go on.
Easier to read.
What's happening
Okay,
over
here.
there? You're like, what did you just click through like
Okay.
5 different tabs.
Point 1, parents are spending a lot more time with their children. Point 2, parents have high exposure to mental health content. Point 3, parents are seeking more parental mental health therapy, like working on themselves.
Mhm.
Point 4, parents are engaging in more gentle, emotionally attuned parenting. So, pretty much what you said. Did you know that this is completely different? I mean, it's not completely different, but I wanted to bring this up first. The Surgeon General's file, that report, 33% of parents report high stress in the past month compared to 20% of other adults. And 48% of parents said most days their stress feels completely overwhelming compared to 26% of non-parents. Parents are struggling. The data shows it. What can we do? Okay, let's just go through the points. I'm on the wrong document. I have too many tabs open, like you said.
Is this a representation of how parenting feels? Or just there's too much information. I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah, really. Parenting feels very intense right now. But people have raised kids through many hardships, through our grandparents, the millennials grandparents generation going through Great Depression. Also, before that, there's less medical knowledge, harsher economic realities, less convenience, fewer resources. That it was hard in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, there was still the mental load and all that stuff, but the focus was more on how are we going to get through, I don't know, the survival more, I think,
Yeah.
of money and resources and medical issues.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about not just decades ago, but like 100 years ago.
Yeah, that's
90 years
interesting because I
ago.
was just reading an article about that where it was saying the physical, like focus on physical danger stuff
Mm-hmm.
is less like health, physical health. It's more about like emotional health.
Yeah. So
Unless
it's
you
more
have a very
mentally draining.
obvious, because it was also saying like depending on your race and ethnicity, like Black and
Mhm.
Hispanic families were more worried about them getting like police issues or physical violence
Safety.
and safety, but how some other ethnicities were more concerned about emotional safety and like mental health. Like they're worried about,
Mhm.
especially it has gone up since COVID. Children's mental health, I mean, not gone up, it's
I
declined.
was like, what do you mean by that?
Children's
Gone up.
mental health has declined
Okay,
since
yeah.
COVID, so I feel like that hasn't helped.
Yes.
So,
And yeah.
sorry I
COVID,
interrupted
COVID
you.
did a lot. No, that's what we're here for.
Continue.
Please interrupt me. So, but we're talking specifically, this article was talking about millennials versus Gen X and baby boomer generation. Why? Is it harder? The answer is in different way. It is, I think, based on what you said. So, point 1 was parents spend more time with their kids than ever right now. The research shows that. So that means they spend more time, especially if you work at home. I feel like that is a hard balance when you're working at home and you have kids.
Yeah, you're doing
It's
two
hard to
jobs at
separate
once.
that. You could spend more time because you work at home. But parents are spending more time with their kids, dads are spending more time with kids. There's more daily involvement and more extracurriculars, more conversations, attending activities, coordinating experiences, and just being really hands-on, which is good. Every point of this is good, but it comes with a cost of energy. So it's like we're becoming wiser and more knowledgeable about things, but it's also a curse because you're just sometimes ignorance is bliss. But I think that the parents who really focus on doing those things and are struggling and are attuned really need to be aware of your mental health, because it is good to focus on those things. It is going to make your family more secure, and your kids are going to grow up to be very emotionally attuned and have a good connection with you, but it's all a balance. You can't just...
It's not the only thing that
Yeah.
to be yeah. I think that the problem comes when it's a very black and white thing. Like I have to do these things
Yeah.
for my kid to be well adjusted versus I'm going to mess up sometimes and
Yeah.
we can repair it and that's okay. Like it's not going to be a straight line.
So, yeah, a question would be, is quality time becoming constant availability? Do you have time for yourself
Yeah.
as well? Because if you don't, that's not good for you. You just have to see what energizes you. Some parents get more drained by doing kids activities
Mhm.
than, and some I think some parents get energized by it.
Yeah.
So, but that is a factor. That's just looking at what's happening in the world. Is there's a lot more time being spent with kids,
Mhm.
which is it's positive, but also it can, you gotta be aware. Too much.
Yes.
Point two: there's too much information and too little trust. Personally, I struggle with this the most because I am always looking at Instagram and researching things and figuring out, is this normal? Does anyone else struggle with this? And how do I manage these things? And of course, that there's so many sources you can go to. Because of the internet and social media, we have so much exposure to mental health content and just information about how to raise your children.
Yeah.
It's become a whole library of therapists and psychologists and educators that it's like, who do you trust, and what there's conflicting information. I even just talking about it, I feel overwhelmed. Just like I feel like I can't even find a line of thought because
Yeah.
I'm thinking about all the
Uh
different resources out there. It's overwhelming. As I said before, people say there's not a guidebook for raising kids. There's
mhm.
too much. There's too many guidebooks.
Yes.
What are you gonna trust?
I think this is true for just like everything right now.
Yeah,
That there's
it's
just too
not
much
just
information. And I was just talking to a
parenting.
client about this. I talk to a lot of clients about this, but how, if you think about how long humans have been alive and how fast technology has grown, like how much information we're sharing, like our brains have not adjusted to that. Like we
Can't
still
handle it.
have brains that are like,
They're short
we're,
circuiting.
yeah, beep boop,
Information overload.
information overload. We're still built for small society. Like this is your group, this is your home, like you're focused on that. And now we're being bombarded by your home is the whole entire world and here's everything that's happening in the whole world. Like that is not where our brains are at right now. Maybe like hundreds and thousands of years in the future will be more adjusted in a way, but that's my perspective when I just think of it as a biological thing. So I think just in general we are very overloaded
Yeah.
and our brains are not meant to be processing, oh, here's a reel of a cute puppy, oh, here's something terrible that I've done to my child, oh, here's, did I mess up my child, oh, look, another cute puppy. Like it's just like
Yeah.
we're not meant to be like jumping around that much, first of all, and just haven't adjusted. Our brains are not there.
Mm-hmm.
So of course that's going to lead us to feel overwhelmed and anxious and depressed even.
Yeah, and comparing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I I feel it when I see something that triggers me. Social media thrives. That's how they work on controversy because that gets a lot of interaction.
Yeah.
And when I see something controversial, I feel it in my body how I start getting angry. And I'm like, that's not good for me. I gotta get off. I gotta quit.
I have a question to present.
Okay.
Don't know if I have an answer, but I have the question. What is the line between being informed and making sure we're not totally overwhelmed with information? Because I'm thinking about specifically too with keeping up with the news and all that. It's good to be informed, but also when is it too much? What is the
Mm-hmm.
line? And with parenting, where's the line for like this is too much information and I want to still be informed about what the information is so that I know what to do with it.
Yeah. I think that also don't know if I have an answer. It's personal to everyone.
Yes.
But if you are constantly getting angry and feeling negative and hateful, that probably is a sign that you are consuming too much information, especially information that's not helpful to you. Because I do think it's good to be aware of things happening, but there's only so much. I don't know. I live by this philosophy that, yes, do good things in the world that maybe fuel your passion and maybe your anger a little bit. But I really think one of the best things you could do is just to take care of yourself, because I really think your energy, if it's a good energy and you're happy and you're peaceful, will go out into the world. Like, I really believe that.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're constantly negative and think that being negative and angry about something is helping, it's not. Unless it pushes you to do something that you think is a positive in the world. Sometimes we need to feel a little angry, but if that's your I'm going on a tangent, but if that's like your energy all the time, that's not helping.
Yeah, that is
It's
also
not
my
helping
philosophy.
yourself
I know that's not
or the
everyone's
world.
philosophy, but for me, maybe other people it is helpful for them to feel that, whatever. But I think my perspective is, if you are, I guess when I think about like my job too, I'm like, I feel like I need to feel good and okay to,
Because you're helping
I need
people
to
all
fill
day.
my cup to pour out my cup to other people. And so it's like very important for me to protect my energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe that can be true just in life too. Like if you are feeling at peace, then it's easier to see things that way, like to project that and put it out there to
Yeah.
others. That doesn't mean you're not informed, doesn't mean you're ignorant. It just means that you are in a place where you're able to be productive with that, with those emotions.
Yeah.
And they're not totally blinding you. And I just read this book for a book club. It's called The Age of Magical Thinking by, oh my gosh.
Good thing we have computers and the internet. Am I right?
Yes. Oh, The Age of Magical Overthinking by Amanda Montell. And she goes through like all these cognitive biases that we have as a people and how they can impact us and how they're not always accurate. And I think one thing that is relevant to this is, well, a lot of them. One of them is, the recency illusion. That's what I was thinking about. Feeling like something is suddenly everywhere because you recently noticed it. We are
Mm-hmm.
surrounded by recency illusions with social media. Every time you see like this huge negative event, it puts us in that mindset of like everything's negative.
Yeah.
Or
So is this
because it
kind of like when you
happened.
buy a new car and then you start seeing it everywhere?
Yeah. Yes, like
It's like a
that.
different type of that.
Yep. It's kind of like that, but it can happen with like a lot of things, news, whatever. There's also, well, the confirmation bias, looking for evidence that supports what you already believe. But I also think that that can refer to, if you believe that the world is this terrible place, you're going to see it everywhere.
But that's a good question about the balance, because I think that we shouldn't be ignorant, but I also don't think we should just live in a negative mindset. That's not good for anybody. So yeah, you do have to find a balance.
Yes, whatever that
But that
means
is
for you.
helpful because you can start noticing if you start doing those types of things.
Yes, it makes you more aware of,
Mm-hmm.
is this actually an
I want
accurate
to read
feeling
that
and
book. That
thought?
sounds really interesting.
You should read it. I'm going to link it in the description. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Yeah. Okay, so sorry, did I cut you off? Were you done?
Nope.
Are you
I'm
done?
done.
Done
You
yet?
done yet? You're done yapping? Gotta move on.
I also wanted to mention that that is one of our goals for this podcast, talking about having too much information. Like, I realize this is just another thing that we're putting out in the world, but I feel like one of our goals is to present uh, the facts of things and to just present ideas and
To make you think,
concepts and
not to force.
make you think, and
Yeah.
not make you think one way or the other, because that's when it gets stressful. Anyways, I hope that we're doing a good job of that, because that's one of my goals. I don't want to add to the noise. I want to add to the peacefulness.
Give a
and,
space
like,
for the noise
space
to.
for-
What would ChatGPT say?
No. Why are you saying
What,
WWC?
what would
What would ChatGPT do?
CPT CGPT S.
Okay, please. We're gonna make bracelets and sell them. What would ChatGPT do in this situation?
So you're not broken. You're
You're not
growing.
broken. And honestly, that's brave.
You are brave.
Okay, anyways, moving on. So yeah, there's a lot of information. There's a lot of influencers and TikTok experts and AI tools
Mm-hmm.
and books and podcasts. It's fun to research things sometimes and read new books, but you gotta be aware. Too much information can create paralysis and self-doubt and comparison, confusion, fear of doing the wrong thing, disconnection from your instinct, as we have talked about before.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
sometimes the best thing you can do is just listen to what you think your body and your mind is telling you is the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
When everyone has advice, you can't really hear your own wisdom.
Yes. I think this even applies to, some people are just very, I don't know where this is going, but it just popped in my brain. You're very, especially now, it's like there's the mental health stuff everywhere and you're very aware. You're trying to be self-aware. You're trying to be aware of your thoughts and your feelings. Like sometimes even that can go too far. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like sometimes you are just, I think we talked about this in one of our episodes. Sometimes like sadness is just sadness. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. You don't gotta do something about it, or you don't have to. Because I think that's another thing information overload does, is it makes us think that everything is something to be figured out, maybe, or something to be solved.
I'm guilty of that.
And I don't know why that popped in my head, but
talked about this in therapy, like when I first started therapy a long time ago. Why do I feel this way? I always said that. She was like, why do you need to know why you feel this way?
yeah.
Why can't you just feel this way?
And I even notice with clients sometimes therapy is not helpful for clients like that, because if it's like weekly, because you don't even have time to really just, I don't know, sometimes you need to just be and experience life, and then you come back maybe every month or you come back every other week. But I've noticed that people get burnt out on therapy sometimes, and I think the same can happen with you getting burnt out on trying to do the perfect thing or trying to be good. What that looks like, I don't know. Maybe that's just giving yourself more grace about things, or just being more okay with not feeling okay sometimes.
Yeah, I like that. That's a new perspective I've never thought about. You know what I keep thinking about with this too much information is the Adam and Eve story. It's like, I keep coming back to that in my head about how she couldn't eat the apple because then we would know everything. But that sounds great. But it's also, there's a lot of negatives to that.
That's true.
It's not a bad or good thing to me. I think it's a neutral thing. But do you want to know everything? Or do you want to be ignorant? I don't know. I do think it's good. I don't know. That's just something I kept thinking about.
That's an interesting connection. Yeah, it can always be turned into, it can be used for good or evil.
Yeah. Exactly. Just like money, it's not a bad or good thing. It's a neutral thing, but how are you going to use it?
Yes, information is neutral.
Information is neutral. Technology is neutral. How are you going to use it?
Feelings are neutral.
Whoa, what else is
What are
neutral?
you
Let's
gonna
keep going.
Everything
This glass
in the
is
world.
neutral. This candle is neutral. But how do you feel about it?
This is like the core of okay, I don't know. I'm not an expert on this, but a lot of like spirituality practices.
Don't tell us.
I'm just putting a disclaimer. A lot of spirituality practices and meditation is like seeing things very neutrally. Actually, dialectical behavioral therapy works on that. You don't put judgments on things. You just see it
back
as
to the happiness trap.
what it is.
Like we talk about that every episode.
Link in the description. A happiness trap.
Please read the happiness trap. It's about that too. Just viewing your feelings as neutral. Yeah. Sorry. Please continue what you were saying.
I think that's it.
Can you say it again? Because I was distracted.
It's that seeing things neutrally is the core of a lot of spirituality practices and mindfulness.
Yes, you're observing.
Dialectical behavioral therapy, acceptance commitment therapy, like just observing, seeing things in a very neutral space and not putting your judgment on them.
Very interesting.
Feelings you can see neutrally. Your thoughts you can see neutrally. Other people. The ability to step back and do that is very difficult for a lot of people.
Because that's how we're born. We don't have judgments about anything.
Why are we talking about this? I don't know. What is? Where did this come from? Is this on the topic?
We were talking about how information is neutral.
Yes.
And we were talking about too much information. Then I started talking about Adam and Eve, and then we started talking about spirituality is neutral. Okay. Anyways.
But that's a good way to cope with the overflow of information, maybe, and opinions. You have to filter it through neutral lens, and then you just take what works for you.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, let's move on to point number 3, which is another reason parenting feels harder these days is because many a millennial are therapizing. They're attending therapy and working on themselves. So they're parenting, raising a kid, and also trying to heal themselves. Not even just parents. 80% I feel like of our friend group or my friends are in therapy. Maybe higher, 90%, I would say.
Yes.
I don't think that therapy was a thing that people even talked a lot about like 30 years ago, 20 years ago
even when we were in high school.
10 years ago.
Like I have
10 years ago.
Clients that are teenagers, most of them. I don't really see teenagers anymore, but when I did, they would talk about that. Like therapy's like a cool thing. You just openly talk about like, oh, my therapist said this. I don't remember that being a thing at all when we were in high school. People didn't just go around being like,
don't think
oh, in therapy I'm talking about.
If someone said that, they would be like, what? Are you a crazy person?
It would not have a positive connotation, I don't think.
And that was, for context, we're 33, so that was math. Once again, we're not here to do math. 17-ish years ago.
We don't do We don't do math on this podcast, so refer to your calculator.
It's like 19 years ago. So, yeah, I do feel like that is a reason that it's mentally draining to be a parent, because you are raising kids and confronting your own childhood wounds, and raising kids can bring up a lot of your own past and your own wounds, because you're thinking about how you were raised and how you want to do it different, and memories of being misunderstood or fear of repeating cycles. All this stuff comes up. And as you know, as a therapist, there's so many things that happen in generations that repeat themselves, which breaking generational cycles is a big thing I'm seeing a lot of millennial parents working on to do. I was just going to say, continue. What?
Sorry. Are you moving on from that topic?
No.
Never mind. Go on. I just had a way to close it out, though. But
I was just gonna talk about how interesting it is seeing just my own personal life, and then seeing other people raising their kids talking about this on Instagram or whatever. As a millennial, you're watching your parents with your kid and how that can bring stuff up, like either positive or negative. So, why is my mom being so amazing with my kid? Like, I don't remember her being like that. Some people say that. Or it brings up good memories. Like, I don't know. It's just, that does bring up a lot of thoughts.
Yes. It can open up a lot of things, whether it's good or bad.
But I remember
remembering things. And
I read this or watched this somewhere that some mom was talking about this and asked their mom, why, like, you're being so amazing with my daughter. How come I don't remember you being like that with me? How come you were not like that with me? And she said, well, I'm trying to fix what I did, or something like that. She said something about, I'm getting a second chance to, I don't know. It was really cute.
That's actually sweet.
So I feel like if you're experiencing that, you should maybe talking to your parents about it is a good thing, because maybe you're seeing it one way, they're seeing it another way.
I honestly believe that like the majority of people are just doing their best, unless you're like a psychopath or you're like, there's exceptions to that rule, but I think most people, for the most part, are just doing what they know and doing the best with what they know. You can know that and still be hurt and upset by things that have happened at the same time. I think that is a huge step in healing, actually, from generational trauma, is to accept both of those truths.
Yeah.
That everyone's just doing their best, doing what they know, doing what they learned, and it was hurtful sometimes and not easy.
Yeah, both things can be true. The next point.
Wait,
Oh, sorry.
remember I had something to close out that
Oh, yeah,
one.
sorry.
So what do we do about that? Let's talk about that a little bit. So I'll ask again. Where's the line? Where is the line between overworking and over self-analysis and overly self-analyzing and also being in tune with yourself? What would you say?
Oh, geez. Great question. I wish I knew the answer to that. I think it's the kind of the same for me. I'm practicing reading my body signals. If I feel in my body tense or stressed, and then I think maybe what I'm doing is not
Yeah.
doing what I think it's doing. Or if I am feeling angry, or I don't know, I think it's good to work on stuff. It is going to be uncomfortable though.
Yes, it's okay.
So it's I don't know what the line would be. You need to do it, but are you talking about if you're working on yourself too much? Is that a thing?
Yes, to burn out from over analysis
Oh,
of
over
yourself.
analysis.
Like if you're
Okay. I see.
overly being like, oh, is this okay? I'm feeling
Well, that's where the observer thing is helpful.
yes.
If you keep saying, why am I feeling this way, and trying to understand it, at some point that just becomes stressful.
Yes, I agree. Well, I think the answer to all these questions is just what you need to figure out what works for you because everyone's different.
Yeah, I need to
But
figure
for
it out.
you, it sounds like just like being very in tune with your body
Yeah,
signals.
I never realized that I wasn't really in tune with my body signals, and I'm trying to work on that.
I didn't realize that until grad school.
Yeah.
I was like very stressed and I
When
didn't I
stressful
was like
things
I'm not
happen.
stressed, but then everything around me would tell me I'm stressed. Like I
Yep.
would be breaking out in hives and not sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, why can't I sleep? Why do I have hives? Oh, I think I'm stressed. So that has been a journey
Yeah.
for me, but which probably for you too, since we're twins.
Yeah, I think becoming a mom, I really am learning my limits on what my social limits are because as a Gemini, I something I'm discovering about myself is I never felt like I was really social, and as a mom I'm discovering I want to be around people and it's helpful for me, so that I'm seeking that out, but sometimes I do too much social things, and before I know it I overcommitted and I am stressed out and I'm crying, and I'm learning how to balance that and not commit to things like 10 things in a weekend.
You know what? I just nothing to do with what you're just talking about, but I think it's cute.
Wow.
That we're Geminis. We're doing a Wombmates podcast with twins, and that we're talking a lot on the podcast. It's just very Gemini of us. It's cute.
I thought about that a lot as well.
We're yapping.
Just two Geminis
anyway,
yapping away. Okay, anyways.
I appreciate your comments, even though I don't remember what they were.
All right, whatever.
Wait,
Go back
I
and
have
listen to it.
I have another thought.
I'm not going to repeat.
My other thought is, okay, the answer to that question, I think for a lot of these topics, like where's the line, is recognizing what your values are, because everyone has different values. Like if you really value being informed and you really value information, doing the right thing, then do that. But if it's making you feel, if you also value peace and self-compassion and not being hard on yourself, then you got to figure out how to align with that value. I always like going back to values. That's very act of me.
Yeah.
Because it kind of overrides thoughts and feelings.
That is very active of you.
Values,
I don't know what that means, but it is.
You don't know what means.
That's very active of you.
Act is very focused on values.
I didn't
If you get
that.
sucked into your thoughts and feelings, you can always direct to your values.
Oh, there's a values test you can take online that my husband did.
What was his values?
I don't remember. It was like a year ago. And apparently it's very in-depth. He did it for work, I think. And then I took it and I forgot what I got to. But I will do some research on that.
Maybe we can link that in the description. Some values thing. Nope. But because that's a good thing to kind of, values are kind of like your lighthouse. And sometimes thoughts and feelings can feel like a storm. And you're like, I feel sad, so I need to figure out that sadness. But if you're feeling sad because you're grieving and you want to be able to move through the grief, then maybe that's not a bad thing that you're feeling
Yeah.
sad. Your value is honoring, I don't know, this is a really bad example. Your value is processing your emotion, honoring the grief. Then it's easier to deal with feeling sad because you know you're doing it for a reason. I think that's what values does.
I
It
like
gives you the
that.
lighthouse. So I think that maybe that's a good direction to go
I always
if you don't
think
know where the
about
line is.
when you went to, you had your internship in Panama City, which is like 4.5 or 5 hours away. Is it 5 hours away from here?
It's 6 hours.
6 hours away. And did they like offer you a job or something? I can't remember. And you couldn't decide what to do if you
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be that far away from everyone or come
Yes.
home, and you felt conflicted about that. And then our BFF, she said something about if it's important to you to be near your family, then you should just do that. And you didn't, you
Yes.
felt that the importance of being near your family over having this opportunity was more important in that moment.
I think about that a lot too.
You
Because
really,
that really made me realize I don't have to do things just because that's what I should do or
mm-hmm.
because that's what I'm expected to do.
Yeah.
If it's
Are
important to
you, that's
me,
another thing is, am I doing this because I feel like I should and I'm getting outside recognition, or is this important to me?
yep,
Or maybe a balance of both. I don't know.
exactly.
Sometimes that's okay to want
Well, that's when things feel hard is when you have conflicting
recognition.
values and you
Yeah.
don't know which one to move
That
towards.
is
But
when it's hard.
anywho, what's the next point?
Point number 4 is the emotional labor of emotionally attuned parenting. Emotionally attuned parenting is becoming more and more of a thing just because there's a lot of research out there that says stuff about previous ways of, oh, I need to read this thing to you. Oh, where is this? She made a really good point about the different generations and how they parented. It was
Again with the tabs.
again with the
We got
tabs. Okay.
lots going on.
Let me find it. How parenting has shifted across generations. So, the generation of baby boomers, their high priorities were placed on high standards, discipline, respect, and compliance. So, children were supposed to be seen and not heard. Physical needs, as we were talking about, took precedence over emotional needs, which kind of makes sense because there was a lot of trauma in our country happening. There was war, depression, Great Depression, financial strains.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to get through it. We don't have time to be sad.
Mm-hmm.
Parents of Generation X became more involved in the day to day lives of their children and less authoritarian than baby boomers. So they're starting to become more involved because our physical comforts, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Physical comforts.
I've been thinking about this the whole time and I've been waiting for a moment to
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. There's
insert
your
that.
moment.
Yeah, it is kind of like you move up the ladder.
Yeah.
Physical safety
Whoa.
up to self-actualization.
Never put that together, but that is pretty cool. So, evolving the trend further, millennial parents now seem to place great emphasis on emotional connection, quality time, mental health of children. But they're consuming more and more information about that. Emotional education, child development tips. But are we on the verge of burnout because of it? She questions Dr. Amber Thornton. So, that was very interesting. Makes me wonder what kind of parents our kids are going to be. They're going to be enlightened. Just kidding.
We don't need rules. We don't need anything because
We don't need to eat.
we're
We don't need to sleep.
detached. Everything's neutral.
And then the cycle continues. Anyways, that point of. Sorry,
Did you
again
say
with the tabs.
was that millennials? The last one you said, or Gen X?
Millennials? It said Gen X was getting closer to their kids. Like they place a little more value on spending time with them,
Mm-hmm.
doing activities, and then millennial parents are placing a lot of emphasis on emotional connection
Okay.
and their emotions and quality time.
Yeah.
So that means we're spending a lot of mental energy figuring out our kids' emotional needs and a lot of mental energy figuring out our emotional needs as well.
Yeah.
Most,
That's interesting.
generally speaking. Our standards today, as with the baby boomer generation, valued respect and compliance and all those things. Today, it's more about attunement and empathy, connection, repairing after conflict, emotional intelligence, and breaking cycles of punishment. That's good progress. But it also asks parents to constantly track things like their
Mm-hmm.
child's emotions and their nervous system, how they're responding, if they're repeating old patterns, how to stay calm when you're feeling chaotic inside.
Yeah.
That's why so many
And
parents are probably like, I would rather just keep track of schedules and lunches than their emotions. It is a lot of work.
it is. And it's more abstract. Like it's not something you can just
Exactly.
see
There's
very clearly. Like you can
once again, there's too many guidebooks on it, so it is
yeah.
abstract.
And another answer to the question, where's the line? I think it's
Should we
also
just name this episode
where
Where's the Line?
where is the line? I forgot what I was gonna
Sorry.
say. Dang it.
Stay
Oh,
calm.
okay. This is something else I notice working with moms too, and also just in general, is you equate like a behavior or an emotion with doing something wrong, or I need to fix something, or I need to. It's not always about that. Like kids, that's part of their job is to have
Yeah, that's like
emotions.
what we talked about in the Good Inside episode.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Like that's gonna
what they
happen.
do.
And
Yeah.
actually, it's healthy if they're emotional sometimes because
You can't
otherwise,
identify yourself with that as a parent.
yeah, that is an
Mhm.
area of learning. Like if you're never gonna be upset or you don't learn what to do with it. If you don't show it or you don't feel it, like you're never gonna learn how to manage it or what to do.
Mhm.
And I think a problem too with what you're saying about previous generations, if that focus wasn't there and it was more on like physical needs and discipline, kids just learn not to express that. So then they didn't learn how to deal with it in that way. On the other
Mhm.
end of that, if parents just want to fix it and be like, oh, let's make you feel better, they still don't ever learn how to deal with that. So you just need the middle ground is like, this is see it neutral. See it neutrally.
Mhm.
This tantrum is my child being a toddler and learning how to manage their emotions. So let's help them out.
That has been very helpful for me as we enter the age of almost 3 years old of remaining neutral and disconnecting a little bit, not disconnecting from her emotions, but from the situation. And
Yeah.
just seeing it as this is just what she knows how to do. And my
Mhm.
husband is very good at that, and I'm not. And I think that is true for a lot of sensitive people and moms in general. Is
Mhm.
it's very hard to detach when your kids are having a tantrum or a big emotion. But
Yeah. But
it is
that's a very helpful skill to
that's
have.
how you can be calm in the tantrum is if you kind of detach from it. And just something that's been helpful for me that I've a good thing about the info is I've learned this trick through a lot of different people of just not saying anything during a tantrum and just being there as a presence.
Mhm.
Sometimes giving suggestions about, I don't know, if you feel like they need a deep breath or hug.
Mhm.
Which my daughter never wants to give me a hug when she's throwing a tantrum. She will push, Mama, leave. Leave.
Leave me
But
alone. I want to be alone, Mom.
but anyways, yeah, that's good. See it as neutral and detach from it a little bit.
Neutral as in this is normal.
Don't
Like this
take
is
on
not
the emotions. Yeah,
unless it's
exactly.
clearly not becoming a normal, you know. I think your parental
Yeah.
intuition might tell you that, but
Hmm.
tantrums are supposed to happen.
So being this emotionally attuned and working on being emotionally attuned to kids, under validating them and repairing if you yell at them. We're all gonna yell at our kids. That's just gonna happen. But if you repair it by saying, "I'm sorry, I yelled at you. Next time,
Mhm.
I'll take a deep breath," or instead of being like, "You better apologize to me right now," just talking to them about it afterwards. That is very draining. You have to do a lot of thinking and a lot of calming down. It's a lot easier to just yell and say, "You did
Yes,
terrible,"
it
and we
is.
know that's not really
It does feel a lot
great.
easier.
After years of yelling at a kid, they're gonna learn to not listen to their emotions and not learn how to deal with them. They're just gonna learn
Mhm.
that you don't like that, and I should just not express myself because that's how kids express themselves. So, anyways, do you think gentle parenting or whatever? I hate that term. Do you think emotionally attuning to your kids is exhausting? Do you think it's empowering? Do you think it's both? I think it's both, but
Mhm.
just something to
Just
think about.
something to throw around in your brain.
Yeah. Another question that came to my mind is this just another perfection trap? Trying to be emotionally attuned, doing better.
Perfection trap.
Like,
I like that word.
that is a thing that is exhausting so many people with social media and all the information. There's just this is how to do it, and you got to do it the best. I don't know. It is hard to do that, but I think that, as she says in this article, parents are significantly shifting the foundation of emotional well-being for an entire generation of children. This is very critical work. It leads me to wonder if these experiences of overwhelm are not a failure, but rather an indication of one generation greatly shaping the emotional landscape of the next. And I want to keep reading this because I like this next one too. Imagine a world where children are seen and heard, where children grow up in emotionally safe and supportive environments, get to experience warm, rich, emotionally connected relationships with their caregivers. Imagine children having the emotional language to adequately express their needs, desires, plus the empathy and emotional intelligence to adequately understand their peers as well. I now believe this is becoming more of a reality thanks to parents who are willing to carry the emotional load of deeper emotional wealth for their children. If you're a parent feeling the weight of this emotional labor of love, you're not alone. Support is available. I like that because it is meaningful work. It's hard, but it is very meaningful. It's going to shape like what the world becomes.
Exactly. It's kind of what we were just saying. Like your actions and your behaviors and your feelings of peace and whatever.
Yeah.
Are shaping your child, which then that will go on to the next generation, which will go on to the people around them, which will go on to those generations too. It is very powerful work, but that also doesn't mean you have to do it perfectly. Because in fact, the imperfections in parenting are what make things grow and what make you grow.
Yeah, because your kids will learn how to deal with their imperfections on seeing how you deal with yours.
Thing that keeps popping in my head this whole episode, and that might be a really good takeaway if you don't take anything else away, is that it's actually very important to be okay with mistakes and to see them as opportunities instead of like, I failed. Be okay with, I don't like negative emotions because all emotions are neutral, but more difficult emotions, like those are opportunities. Being like, it's not a failure or it's not a bad thing to have hard times. It's not a bad thing to have a tantrum. It's not a bad thing to make a mistake as a parent. Like, in fact, those are the things that help you grow the most.
Yeah.
So I think just seeing things very neutrally like that.
Which is very hard to do, especially when you're going through a traumatic situation. Like giving birth or...
Yes. In the moment, you're not going to feel like that. But like you are very right. You're not going to feel like that in the moment. But I think if that's your perspective on it in general, like if you look back on it and you're like, that was terrible, that was awful, instead of how was I going to help me? Yeah. What can I do with that?
So this leads me to my next point that I think would help in those times too, is having a community, which she didn't mention in this article, but I understand why, because there hasn't been community in the Western world for parents in a very long time, longer than the baby boomers, but as a general observation. But I do think that that is very important because this is a really hard work. If you are emotionally attuned and if you are constantly looking to be better, and it's like impossible to do that by yourself. Yeah. Which is, I think some people research and search out that in place of a community maybe. But I think if you have a community around you to talk about these things and just get advice from your friends, like trusted people, and that is, and having family nearby, which it's very difficult if you don't have family nearby or friends nearby. We've talked about this in like every episode, but I think it is one of the most important things. But I do think that many Western families now have less extended family nearby. There's more expensive childcare, so they don't really have even that support. That's not an option. They're like, grandparents are still working. You don't have like a neighborhood community. There's just so many things.
Yeah, and someone actually commented on did you see the comment on our YouTube short?
Yes, I did.
I keep thinking about that. That was a really good point. They said that we're incredibly litigious
I had to look that word up.
society. Me
But
too.
yes,
And
I
I just
agreed.
looked up how to say it because I didn't know.
I was wondering
But,
what you doing there. What does it mean again? I
but I
forgot.
thought like prone towards like things like lawsuits and very protective.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, that is a good point.
so people don't want to, like that short I posted about people in other countries being more hands-on with other people's kids. It's like that's I think how community's seen a lot in other cultures. Like everyone's just kind of like helping out in some
You know
ways,
what,
but America is very like we're fear-based, I think, in a lot
we
of
are
things
very
like that,
fear-based.
instead of which can remove connection and you know.
I was just talking about this with my husband because there was some. uh, I'm on like a Disney annual pass holder Facebook group. I think you're in that too. But there were some posts about how some parents just left their kids sleeping in the stroller while they went on Mount Everest. So I was like, but then everyone was commenting and they were like, this is what they do in other countries. Like, it's
Yeah.
normal.
Yes.
But here we were like, oh, I can't. How dare they? Someone did steal their child, which is true. I would never do that, but I wish I felt safe enough to do that. That's crazy
It's a
that people do
feedback
that
loop.
in other
Like,
other
we don't
countries,
feel
but we
safe.
are very. I mean, for good reason. There's a lot of crazy things that happen here, but I do think we are very, very fear-based, and that definitely contributes to feeling isolated because you don't want to trust other people with your kid that you don't know. Or we don't want to go visit our neighbors. What if they're crazy? I don't know. Just things
Yeah.
like that.
Not that that's a bad or good thing. It's just I could see how that would
Just
be
a neutral.
just a neutral thing. I could see how that would be very like that would make it harder to have that village or that community aspect of things just as
Yeah.
in general.
So we should talk about just like what we could do to besides, I mean, I guess having community is definitely something you could work towards, is finding a community and making sure you have that is very important, even if it's hard. Looking on Facebook groups or FaceTiming your friends often and your parents or whatever. There's also a lot of financial pressure. That was
Yes.
another thing that I wanted to talk about, but we are running out of time here.
Let's talk about it still.
Okay.
We'll do a brief overview.
Yeah, that's another thing that I think has always been an issue that she didn't really talk about, but I do think it's because it's been an issue more than just this generation, is childcare costs. Obviously, inflation. Am I right? Just
Am
the
I right,
economy. Am I
folks?
right? That's in the past. It was not expensive to put your kids in childcare. In fact, our mom was telling me when Romy was first born, she was like, "Isn't there like a free 9 to 12 mom stay out thing?" I was like, "What? Free childcare? Where? What? I want to do that." Apparently, she used to put us in. I don't know if it was free or if it was just like very cheap. Like twice a week, she would put us in daycare for 2 mornings a week, 9 to 12. I could not find that anywhere, and when I did find that through my neighborhood, they suggested something, and I looked it up, and I emailed them, and I was like, "What is this?" And it was like, I don't know, something insane. It was like $150, $200 for like 3 hours,
No.
or something like that. I might be exaggerating, but that's how it felt to me. I was
Yeah,
like,
that's
excuse
the
me?
feeling behind it.
I thought it was gonna be like free or I don't know, like
before you were looking at all that, I just assumed that you could just find a place and be like,
I know that's so hard.
Yeah.
That
Here's
is
my
a
child.
big and if both parents are working because they have to,
I mean,
then
housing costs,
housing costs,
the economy. Am I right?
the economy. Okay, this other thing I want to mention about parents under pressure, the Surgeon General's advisory thing talks about just the structure, how things are structured in our society and how we need to restructure them. I am becoming very passionate about this. I am like,
I can hear it in your
really-
voice.
I've
passion.
been a lot of information about this has just been coming up in my Instagram feed and whatever. There's a whole section on here, what health and social service systems and professionals can do for parents, what communities and community organizations and schools can do, what employers can do.
What is this?
What-
What
this
did
is
you
on
find?
the Surgeon General's thing.
Oh,
The files, Parents Under Pressure.
Yes.
What national, territorial, state, local, and tribal governments can do. There is so much information. We should do a whole episode on the structure of our society, how it can change to better support parents. There's points that I made for each of these, by the way, but they're really short. I'll go through them.
Okay.
So what needs to change in society and policy? Paid family leave. Just look at other countries. Let's just take an example from other countries. They have a year paid leave, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Affordable childcare. We do not have that. Flexible work policies. So being able to leave where I used to work, when I first started working there, I was like, this is amazing. Someone just left at 3 p.m. to pick up their kid. Like, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
But it was
Isn't
like
that
a
I could talk
workplace
about that
like
forever.
that.
All the
This is
expectations I've
awesome.
had about what work
Uh,
is and now where I'm at now. And I'm like,
Yeah.
why did I expect it to be?
I always expected to
But it's
just,
because that's what it's like.
I don't know. Yeah, I do think that hopefully companies are moving towards that. Better access to mental health care, community programs, family friendly policies. And here's things employers can do: create more flexible schedules, create better family leave, supportive workplace culture, and mental health resources. I think that the document gives a lot more information about each of these, and obviously there's a lot of moving parts, but just in general.
Do
You
you
were going to say
think,
something?
I have to say this because I'm going to forget. I already
Okay.
know. Do you think that this is going along with the fear based thing? Like why companies are so, just our culture being fear based?
What
It's
do you
like if
mean?
we don't have these strict things,
Oh,
then they're going to like take advantage of our system and like we're not going to get meet our numbers and our quotas because they're out for too long. And like I feel like so much revolves around fear
yep,
just in a
that's true.
culture in general. You have to in control, like we have to be
Fear and
on top
control.
of everybody instead of like
Yeah.
things happen, people are human, just trusting people.
Yeah, we don't trust our employees. And
Mm-hmm.
then COVID, I it showed us that we can work from home.
Mm-hmm.
And so many companies, my husband's company didn't and never let anyone work from home. I think maybe he worked from home once or twice in the 10 years before COVID happened that he worked there. It wasn't 10 years, it was like 8. I don't know. And then after COVID, their office like doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah,
And
that's happened to
everyone works from
so many
home.
places. You're just like,
And
oh,
that does create easier flexibility, but as we were talking about earlier, it's like blurs the lines a little bit if you're a parent
mm-hmm.
and if you're not a parent of home and work, and it also creates isolation
Mm-hmm.
when you're working from home because you don't have a community that you're around all the time, and that can affect you. But you know, working from home is possible. It's just
Yeah.
that it's not just working from home, but it's like we can be flexible. You can trust your employees to
Mm-hmm.
do what they need to do when you're not monitoring them all the time.
That's my opinion.
Nobody
As
trusts
someone
anybody.
from not in the corporate world, I have strong opinions about that I probably shouldn't have because I don't really know what it's like
Well,
inside of
both
it.
of our
But
husbands work in the corporate world, so we
that's
see
true.
it and get annoyed by it.
I just,
um,
yeah, I have very strong opinions for someone who has no idea what they're talking about with corporate. We're back once again. I think this happens one time per episode because my stupid little adapter or whatever dongle always comes out and I need one that's stronger, more capable. I'm sorry, little guy, but you're just not doing it correctly.
Okay. Anyways,
Okay, move on. I mean, continue.
move on,
Move
please.
on, please. Come on. get
Okay,
with
the
it.
next point. So there's society and policies, employers, communities, friends, and families. What can we do as a community if you have friends that are struggling and seem isolated? You can give practical help. Make sure you have connection, shared caregiving, reduce stigma. Check on the parents and not just the children. Parents, what can you do? Ask. Ask for help. I know that's very difficult. Sometimes people reach out and just say, anyone want to hang out? And everyone says, no, we're busy, busy. But sometimes that's like a cry for help. Not a cry for help. That's dramatic. But maybe it is a cry for help.
What's a cry for help?
Saying, like, anyone want to hang out this weekend?
Oh,
If especially
cry for help.
Can we no, I'm saying if you
Please help me.
have if you have a friend. Sorry, I always say I saw this on Instagram, but I did see this on Instagram. This mom was saying how she was a new mom and was texting all her friends asking, "Hey, do you want to come hang out?" And they're all busy. And she was saying how she was just trying to reach out and connect because she felt so lonely.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a friend that has a kid, a newborn toddler, whatever, you might be busy, but that's very important to make an effort to see them. It's very isolating being a parent.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a parent, you have to practice asking for help in a direct way. Like, I could really use someone
Yeah.
to come hang out with me today and maybe help
Yeah,
with the
especially if it's someone
laundry.
that doesn't understand. You can't expect someone that hasn't been through it to get where
Yeah.
you're at.
Nobody's
to-
a mind reader.
Which it would be nice if they did, but that's not realistic either.
Yeah.
So practicing, yeah, it's both ends, reaching out and then also responding to the people that are reaching out and accepting help.
Yeah. So, yeah, protecting your rest if you're a parent, seeking mental health support, lowering perfectionism, build connection over comparison, and care for yourselves without guilt. Wow, la-di-da. Wish I could do all that, but
Can you say
gotta-
I didn't even hear the last part. You said it.
I'm just reading this like, wow,
Like,
this sounds great. Wish
you
I could
just
do
shocked
that.
me back
But
to shocked me back to reality with that lottie da. I
I'm just
was zoning
saying-
out. I'm so sorry.
Okay, lower your perfectionism as a parent. This is how you can help yourself.
Okay.
Build connection over comparison and care for yourself without guilt. I was thinking about the care for yourself without guilt thing. That's really hard for me. I was like, well, I wish I could do that.
Yeah,
But that
That's
is
hard to
important. You know?
It
You can't
is.
just go on a, I don't know, a walk by yourself without feeling
you
guilty.
need to have grace with yourself, self-compassion as a parent,
Mhm.
especially.
Really do. Anyways, let's end this and talk about positive things.
I was gonna say that because I feel like we talk very negatively about, and I don't know if that's just my perspective of our conversation, but we're just like, oh, this society that sucks. We're so bad at this. But there are
It's true,
positive
though.
things. There are positive things about this time as a
there
parent.
I agree with that. And here's some positive things. Tabs.
Flipping through the tab. Where's a positive thing? Where's a positive thing? Talk Gotta wrap this up.
Okay, but what's better about parenting now? That's another point. We can talk about positive things.
Mm-hmm.
There is definitely more knowledge. Okay, we know that.
Mm-hmm.
That is overwhelming, but it's good. We want
good to have knowledge.
our human race to develop in a positive way, and we
Mhm.
need knowledge to do that. We have more involved fathers in many families.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about millennial dads,
I forgot who this.
They're great.
I agree. I know a lot of great millennial dads.
Yeah.
I remember hearing this. I don't remember if it was like mom or dad talking about a grandpa or something like that, but how when they saw how involved their son was or something, they were like, "You changed the diapers?
Yeah.
It's like it just shows how much has changed over the generations. It's like I didn't do any of that when I was.
Yeah, like
When I was a
I
dad.
never did any of that. Jake, my husband was putting Romy down for a nap.
Mm-hmm. Who
Our
said
gra-
that?
Our grandpa.
Oh,
I never did any of that.
yeah.
It's
It's
crazy.
now
how different
nowadays.
things
Dads are way more involved.
There's more mental health language, so people don't feel so alone and isolated in their feelings that they're crazy or that nobody else feels like this.
Mm-hmm.
There's connection with other people because there's language for it. So
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
We can talk about it more.
there's less normalized harsh punishment. Abuse is not normalized. And
Thank the Lord. Well, hopefully.
I
not.
do think in some places it is, which is really sad. But overall, it's not normal now to hit your child when they're misbehaving
Yeah,
and things like that.
that's slowly becoming the outlier instead of the norm.
Yeah. We have more awareness of trauma and attachment.
Yes, and
That
how it
trauma
can
is a
impact-
very real, impactful thing that it will affect you in your life, even if it happened, whether it happened when you were a kid or recently.
Mm-hmm. There are
Just
impacts.
going back to the mental health language, not feeling like you're crazy, like, oh, that's why I feel like this. Is because I had trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And like we said, going to therapy, and people are becoming more aware of their cycles and what is working and what's not working.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of those positives are about evolving emotionally and mentally. Do
Mm-hmm.
you have any thoughts on what other positive things are in the world right now
In the
with
world?
parent?
Oh.
Whoa! I just mean with like parenting in
um,
general. How is it easier now?
well, first of all, we're having conversations like this. I feel like more people are talking about stuff like this,
Yes.
like you were saying.
Oh, there's easier ways to find communities now
Yes.
via social media. You can
There's
have communities
options.
all online.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of other ways to connect instead of just, I have this friend that I have to go travel to every. Like, you can
Mm-hmm.
connect in a lot of different ways with other people. So I do feel like that's the main stuff, is just like we're evolving and developing and becoming more aware
Yeah.
of what is helpful as a parent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that also the positive thing that comes from that is that it's more rewarding in a lot of ways because you feel like you are putting in the work, you're putting the effort,
Mm-hmm.
and you see your child go, well, share this cookie with my,
Or
my
comfort a
dad
stuffed animal.
or comfort a stuffed animal. You're
It's
like,
having big
yes.
feelings.
Like it's rewarding when you're seeing that. Like
Yeah.
you're seeing the emotional maturity and the like what you
Mm-hmm.
have been hoping for your child.
So,
So,
yeah, that's true. It is very rewarding. So, I don't think that it's nostalgic for the past, thinking that it's harder today. It's harder in many ways, but there is a lot of good things too.
mm-hmm.
And we just need to see the trade offs clearly. Like, we do have more knowledge and wisdom about emotional attunement and what is going to help our children grow and us heal. But we have a lot of pressure on ourselves to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of work to do that.
Yeah.
But we gained a lot of wisdom, but we
Anytime,
lost a lot of.
yeah, anytime there's something, I always, this is like my mantra, is like our strengths are also our greatest weakness. Like because we
Mm-hmm.
have more knowledge, that's a great strength. That's good. But it also makes us more pressure. Just back in the day, because there was more like you didn't supervise your kids as much, they just ran out and had a good time. Like there's good things about that. You don't feel you always have to be like, ah, are they okay? Are they good? Are you okay? That's
Yeah.
maybe the positive from that and that kids learn more independence and things like that. But then the negative is, yeah, maybe it did lead to not being as safe and things like that. There's always a trade off, no matter what.
Yeah.
So, yes, there's definitely positive negatives about it, but I think that the fact that it's leading to evolving is like the biggest positive that we're evolving as
Mm-hmm.
a people.
Just a takeaway so we don't feel stressed. Because I do think that there are things you can do to make sure you're not overloading yourself with information. We've talked about this before, is find a few trusted voices instead of looking everywhere all over for opinions and things that you need help with. Enough is greater than perfect. You don't have to be perfect at everything. In fact, you're not going to be perfect at everything. Deal with it. Repair matters more. This is very helpful for me is when I get upset,
Mm-hmm.
not even just with my child, but like with anyone, just apologizing or talking about it
Yes.
is more important than,
The rupture itself.
yeah,
Yes.
than just not doing it. Because like we said, your kids learn how to handle conflict through you. So
Mm-hmm.
asking for help before you collapse can be very helpful. Learning that myself. Build a small community and just be present and not feeling like you have to optimize every moment, and listen to your body and listen to what your intuition. Practice doing that, what you think is right, instead of searching for the answers and
Yes.
ChatGPT and Reddit and all
It
those
is too
things.
easy to do that these days.
So maybe parenting isn't harder because parents are weaker, but maybe the conditions have just changed and we have to adapt.
Yep. Always
So,
adapting as a species.
yep.
This is just another example of it.
Yeah, so that's all I got.
Well, those are some great tips. I couldn't have said it better myself. Well, that's our episode for today. Thanks for tuning in.
If you have any thoughts about what you think about parenting today, if it's harder, what aspects are harder, what aspects are easier, please comment.
Yes.
Interested to
let us
know everyone's opinions and thoughts about that.
Yes.
And please read this article in the Parents Under Pressure thing
And
that we linked in the description because it's very interesting.
And check out the books that we also linked.
Yeah, and the books.
All right.
More information for you.
More information. We're adding to the information crisis.
Take what resonates and leave what doesn't.
Yes,
That's what
exactly.
I always say.
Okay, we'll see you in our next episode. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.